Hello, sir.
Hi.
Sir, I have a question for you.
Yes, please go ahead.
Sir, while speaking, I face one problem that I have a habit of translating from my mother tongue to English of
Okay.
any thought.
Mhm.
So I face stucking and the speed becomes slow. So, sir, maybe this is the problem with many learners.
Right.
So, how to get rid of it? How to
Okay.
avoid this problem?
First of all, you're absolutely correct. This is a problem which is faced by many people. This is a very common issue actually. And to answer it, well, if I have to answer, I mean, the question, let me reframe the question first. You're saying how to avoid the problem of translation and start speaking directly in English, right?
Yes.
So, if I have to give the answer of this question in one sentence, I would say English has to become your thinking language. If you want to
Yeah.
stop translating and start speaking naturally in English has to become your thinking language. Now I know it's easier said than done. It's not as easy to think in English directly. So how to think in English? Well, I can answer that also in one sentence. In order to make English your thinking language, you have to take input in English. It means you have to consume information directly in English. In other words, you have to read in English, or watch something in English, or listen to something in English. As a matter of fact, if you read something in English, if you consume something in English, it will be easier for you to talk about it in English rather than your mother tongue. To give you an example, uh, let's talk about school. Let's say you learned a concept in science in your school. Let's say electrolysis. So you have read about electrolysis in English. It will be easier for you to talk about it in English. If I ask you to talk about it, electrolysis in Marathi, the words won't come to you. I mean, if I ask you, do you know what is electrolysis called in Marathi? Would you know?
No, sir.
No,
Literally
right?
not. Yeah.
I also don't know because I read about it in English. So I can talk about it in English. I don't know the Marathi of it, right? So isn't it amazing that you can't talk about a concept in your mother tongue itself, but you can talk about it in English?
Yeah.
And the only reason is you read about that concept in English itself. And that's the solution. See, Shri, translation is actually a problem. Many times translation will hold you back, and many times things are not even translatable. Sometimes it helps. As a beginner, I think translation is okay, but you should leave translation behind as quickly as you can. To give you an example, जैसे हिंदी में बोलते हैं मुझे ठंड लग रही है. If I start thinking about it in Hindi and then try to translate it, we will say something like cold is happening to me or something like that. But that's not how we say it in English. We say I'm feeling cold. That's the natural expression. If I had listened to that expression directly in English, I wouldn't have to translate it. I wouldn't even have to know how to say that in Hindi. I would have directly said it in English, right?
True.
Let me give you another example. मेरी कार खराब हो गई. My car went bad. कैसे बोले? No, there is a natural expression in English. My car broke down. How can I say that? Because I've heard it in English itself. So I don't need another language to talk about it. Like I've heard of it in English, I can talk about it in English. No need of translation. Are you getting it?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Right. So translation is an extra step, Shri, which is not needed. I'll give you one more example. See, this is a table, right?
Yeah.
Do you know the Marathi word for table?
No.
Me neither. And we don't even need it. We just need this, that thing, and what to call it in English. We don't have to add an extra step of Marathi or our mother tongue. That is not needed.
Needed.
Getting it?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Laptop. What do you call laptop in Marathi? You probably don't know, right? You
No.
don't even have to know.
Yeah.
The thing and what do you call it in English? That's all you need. You don't need an extra step of your mother tongue. So translation is not required when you consume information directly in your target language, which is English in our case, right? To summarize it, if you want to avoid the problem of translation, you have to consume information in English, directly in English, so that you can talk about that concept in English itself. You won't require your mother tongue and you won't require that step of translation.
Yes, I
Make
got
sense?
it. Yes, sir. Means for this, the English should be your thinking language
Exactly. And how to make English your thinking language?
by consuming the
By
data.
consuming information in English itself.
Yes, sir.
I hope that clears the question.
Definitely, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome.